Tripp Kramer here from trippadvice.com. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to be more interesting to women. Why do you want to be more interesting to women? Women find interesting men attractive. I think anytime a woman has ever been attracted to a man, she finds him interesting on some level. But what I want for you is for every girl to meet you and within about 10 minutes of conversation go, wow, that guy is interesting.
Perfect harmony.
So there's short-term strategies and then there's long-term strategies. So what does that mean? That means that there are things that you can do almost immediately that can help you be more interesting in conversation. And then there's things that you want to work on in the long term. Things that are going to be taking weeks, months, years, your whole life, things you could be doing to being more interesting. Here's the beautiful part about this video and the strategies inside of it is that this is not only going to help you become more attractive to women, but this is going to make you, well, really enjoy your life more, because I'm going to be telling you to do things you might not normally do. It's going to bust you outside your comfort zone, and it's going to make for a more enjoyable life. And that's kind of what women are looking for. They want to know they're going to be with a guy who they can enjoy life with. And no, you don't have to be crazy, James Bond type, out of control, doing wild things, traveling around the world, although that is kind of one of my tips, but doing things completely out of control that are going to cost thousands of dollars to be more interesting. No, there's simple things you can do. So let's get into it. All right, short-term strategies. Let's talk about how to be more interesting in conversation so a girl can feel like she's having interesting conversation with you. In order to have more interesting conversation, I want you to get Chick Crack. That's my free video, which you can get in the description down below, that has all the different conversation topics that women find interesting that is going to help you have interesting conversation. Now, go get that. Now, I'm not trying to avoid the answer here of having interesting conversation, because what's going to follow are things that you're going to be doing throughout your life that are going to make your life more interesting and therefore conversation more interesting, because you're going to be able to talk about those things. For example, another short-term strategy is hobbies, okay? Having unique hobbies. And I'm not just talking about something you do like once a year. That's not a hobby. I mean, something you do on a regular, consistent basis. A weird, unique hobby might be like taxidermy. Another semi-unique hobby is like droning. I've been really into droning lately. I feel like that's pretty interesting. I think scuba diving is pretty interesting. But here's the thing. Again, this is not something that you do once in a while. It's something you do all the time, because you're going to be talking about this in a very passionate way. And when you talk about unique things in a passionate way, it makes for more interesting conversation and makes you a unique and interesting individual. So what kind of hobby do you think that you could do that can make you a little bit more interesting, something that you're interested in? Actually, write a comment down below and tell me a hobby of yours that you do right now, or a suggestion of a unique hobby, so we can all get ideas here in this community and see what we can do to be more interesting and have a more enjoyable life. For those of you who have been asking, I'm still on the island of Fujifaru in the Maldives. Fujifaru is the name of the resort here. Been here for almost a week, and it's absolutely incredible. As you've seen from the earlier drone footage, this place is quite magical. Highly recommend you ever go to the Maldives. Well, first of all, I highly recommend you go to the Maldives. How you doing? And they're so nice here. And if you do go to Fujifaru, because this tiny little island is just jam-packed with relaxation and fun things to do, and very nice people. Another short-term strategy for being more interesting is, and I don't normally talk about this on my channel, but wearing something unique, a piece of jewelry, maybe a hat, something that stands out, that's just different from everyone else. I wish I had an example of what I'm talking about, but you know what you can do is you can go check out a blog post that I wrote just like a year or two back called How to Be More Interesting to Women, and I give an example there of a necklace that I used to wear, and it's just very unique, very different, and very commentable. You know, something that gives a woman an excuse to comment on something you're wearing, and that makes you a little bit more interesting. Other things you can do, let's talk about long-term strategies. Long-term strategies to be interesting are gonna happen over the course of weeks, months, years, maybe your whole life. Okay, things that you can do in your life that's gonna kind of add to your story. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to add to your story. So when you talk to someone, when you talk to a girl and you share the stories of your life, they're gonna say, wow, this person is doing something. This person has done something. This person is going to do something. you know, it makes it a lot different than someone just kind of sitting around, not really doing much with their life. There's nothing to really feel attracted to or feel pulled to. So I made a little list here. That's why I'm looking down on my phone. Reading a book once a month. This is another long-term strategy. You know, reading one book is not going to make you more interesting, but reading a lot of books and absorbing information and learning and being able to share information is going to be a really good strategy to be more interesting, because someone who can share knowledge about literally anything is a more interesting person. Another one, and this I understand is, well, I've been saying here, these are long-term strategies, so this is not like a short-term fix, but falling in love with your job. Falling in love with what you do, because your job, for most people, is a big part of your life. You're spending a lot of time working or doing your job. So if you don't like it, if you're not in love with it, if it bores you, if it doesn't interest you, then you're not going to be a very interesting person. Again, I'm not telling you to get an interesting job, because you don't need an interesting job. Sure, an interesting job might make you more interesting, but what's interesting is a person who just loves what they do, loves spending every waking moment, because that's different. Most people don't. Most people don't enjoy what they do or the time they spend during their days. So fall in love with your job. This is a bigger concept. I'm not going to go into it. I guess I just really wanted to say that to you, for you to start thinking about it. Maybe that will knock something around in your brain to realize, like, yeah, I got to do something that I love. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of inspiration. Of course, you know I'm going to say travel. Come on, look at this place. This is amazing. This is not the only place that's amazing. There's a lot of amazing places. You've been seeing me travel to multiple places. Now I get to take the stories. I get to tell people about, this is the bluest water I've ever seen in my entire life. And I got to experience it. And I got to pick up the whitest sand that I've ever seen, that I've ever felt. I get to describe that to someone. And that's gonna make me more interesting, because I've done something interesting. What happens is, when you have stories that are interesting, things you've done, it makes you a more interesting person, because you can share that unique story, situation that most people haven't been in. But don't you find someone more interesting when they've traveled somewhere where they can tell you a story about somewhere where they've been? Don't you feel captivated by that story? Don't you feel kind of sucked into their world when they tell you, oh, I've been to almost every single continent? Then you want to ask them questions. So travel is just a really easy and great way to be more interesting. I know when I say easy, I know it's hard for some people, but it's just about getting somewhere. Once you're just landing somewhere in a new country, boom, you already have a story, a lot of stories. So think about ways that you could travel more. What about saying yes to things that you don't normally say yes to? Again, we're going with this theme of having new experiences, being able to tell stories, being able to live a unique life that most people don't live. A lot of people say no, a lot of people are scared, a lot of people just crunch up right in their comfort zone. But what if you started saying yes to things? What if you started trying new things? What if someone offered you a new piece of food? What if someone offered to just be a friend? What if you found someone who was a type of friend that you normally wouldn't have as a friend, but you knew you could maybe learn something from them, and they could learn something from you? Just think outside the box here of ways that you could be saying yes to things that you're normally saying no to. Here's another thing I want you to do. I want you to write down in the comments below, when are you saying no to things? What have you said no to recently that maybe you should have said yes to? Write down in the comments. I want to read those. I'm very interested.
I can only imagine how it is to be with you. From the first day I saw your face, I knew this love was true.
It's my last day here at Fujifaru. It's been incredible, as you can see. Again, I highly recommend coming to the Maldives, coming to Fujifaru. Very sad to leave. I'm gonna be packing my bags in just a few hours, leaving tomorrow morning, and then headed to Bali. So you can check out what I'm doing there, and if you're paying attention to the daily vlogs, then you'll see everything I'm doing when I'm in this crazy little island we call Bali. So follow me. If you're made it this far into the video, press subscribe if you haven't been a subscriber yet. We have an ever-growing community of awesome guys who are trying to learn how to meet and attract amazing women into their life and trying to become amazing, interesting men. Press subscribe right now. Signing off. Jam-packed information on this one. Hope you liked it.